Sometimes wanting what you could never have should remain as a wish, because not every dream coming true will be good for you. I learned this the hard way, and until now, my heart is full of regrets when I remember the things that happened a year ago. I, 36 female, was a sales director at one of the biggest cosmetic companies in New York. My husband, Jim, 62 male, owned the company that I worked for, and, well, he was not only impressed with my skills the first day we met, but he was smitten by my charm. Suffice it to say, I got him to fall in love with me within a month, and he immediately proposed for us to get married. Of course, I said yes. Who wouldn't want to marry the richest bachelor in town? Despite the 26-year difference, Jim and I never had any stumbling blocks in our relationship. He had this maximum tolerance whenever I would bish about the smallest things, keeping the arguments to a minimum and making sure they never escalated into fights. He knew almost everything about me, what I wanted, what I hated, and even my little secrets. But what he didn't know was that boredom was slowly eating me up, and the stalking that I had been doing on my longtime crush on social media. Leo, 36 male, was a high school crush I never got to outgrow. Until now, if any of my classmates brought up his name, I would squeal like a teenager, because 1, he owned the pair of the most tantalizing eyes on the planet, and 2, he managed to make me feel special with that one special dance during our prom night when nobody would have me as a date. That totally changed my life, you know? You couldn't just forget the one who lifted your self-esteem on the most crucial night of your teenage life. So, imagine my heart smashing into pieces when I learned that he got married to a churchmate 6 years ago. Hell, I was way prettier than that bish, and I bet everyone was also asking, why her? That must have been the reason too, that I said yes to Jim right away when he asked me to marry him a year later. I knew that I didn't have the chance anymore to be with Leo, or so I thought. One day, I got a message from a former classmate about Leo and his wife getting divorced. I almost dropped the coffee mug to the floor because I got too disoriented with the good news. I could hardly get a grip of myself, but I knew if I wanted to have a chance with Leo, now was the time to make a move. So after a month, I chatted with him and started some small talk. Soon, I offered if I could do anything for him now that he was trying to move on with his life. Of course, I couldn't show him how thrilled I was to be reconnected with him, but I felt like I could give up everything at that point in my life just to be with him. And that included my marriage. Stupid, right? But let's just be honest. Any girl would do the same if they were me. After weeks of chatting and getting nowhere, I upped my game and moved in for the kill. I invited Leo to a dinner date during one of Jim's business trips, and he obliged. I wore the sexiest dress that I could find in my closet and put on the reddest lipstick on our date night, and the next thing I knew, we were inside a hotel room getting it on. We kept seeing each other for the next 3 months, and I gotta admit, being with him felt so good that everything was exactly the way I had ever imagined. But then, something was amiss. For one, he confided that his business was doing badly, and that he needed $100,000 to cover the losses. A week after, he wanted to borrow my Bentley for a week because he needed to meet some business investors, and he wanted to impress them. Within that same week, he asked for another $100,000. This time, he said he needed it for his mother's intestinal operation. I kept giving in to Leo's requests, but all along, I knew he was just after my money. Little did I know, Jim was already on my trail. Yes, my husband knew everything from the start. He knew what I was doing on social media day in and day out. He knew I was stalking Leo every day. He even knew which dress I wore on my first date with Leo. He was very much aware that Leo had been my crush since high school, but he never asked me about it. And all the business trips he had in the past, they were mostly setups to see if I would be hooking up with anyone while he was away. I passed the tests in the first 4 years, but in the 5th year, he finally caught me sleeping around with the one I had been fantasizing about. Jim didn't confront me at all when he finally came home. He refused to say anything and walked past me as if I was a ghost. I knocked on his room that night until my knuckles hurt, but he didn't unlock the door. The messages I left him on the chat apps were all left unseen. I was truly desperate to talk to him so I could beg for his forgiveness, but it was too late. The next day when I arrived at my office, all my staff were gathered in front of the giant monitor watching a video clip of me kissing Leo inside a restaurant. I was horrified by the thought that there would be more clips playing after this one, so I grabbed the remote and immediately switched off the monitor. That same day, I received a termination letter without severance pay on the grounds of unauthorized withdrawal of funds. Soon, the bank manager called to inform me that all of my accounts had been closed, and when I reached home that evening, all of my belongings were already outside the gate. Like, seriously? I was thrown out of my own home after giving him a good time in bed for 5 years? Was I such a bad wife that he couldn't treat me with utmost civility? Did he honestly want me to believe that he had never hooked up with other women while he was away? But here I am, a year later, with no money, no family to call my own, and nowhere to go. I'm still trying to reconnect with Jim, but he keeps shutting the door on me each time I get near. If only I could turn back the clock, I would have never gone anywhere near Leo because he was not worth giving up my life for. Story 2. Don't know how to start, so I just will, I guess. I messed up bad. I was an idiot, and I wrote a post yesterday in another sub about wanting an open relationship, and my husband found out. That led to a massive fight, and he said some things I didn't like, so I left the house and went for a walk. A coworker of mine, he's the man I wanted to be in an open relationship with, gave me a call and invited me to his house. I decided since the conversation had gotten me nowhere, I'd just go ahead with it, so I asked him to pick me up and we went back to his house. We had a few drinks and went to the bedroom. He put the TV on and we watched some stupid film for a few minutes. I was feeling frisky, so I made a move and went down on him. The result was disappointing to say the least. He came in about 20 seconds and without warning. He then basically ignored me and went back to the TV. This went on for about an hour, and just as I was starting to think about leaving, he started to straddle me. I basically just said screw it and went with it. The sex was terrible, like full-on mortifying. He refused to go down on me because his tongue was sore from eating Pringles, so we went straight to sex and it was just 10 minutes of awkward thrusting. He forgot to pull out too. Afterwards, he rolled back over and went back to watching TV. I just got dressed and went straight home. On the way back, I did some thinking and realized all I wanted was some excitement to escape the routine, and it's not all it's lived up to be. When it comes to actual sex, my husband is far better than anyone else I've been with, due to sheer experience, and I wish I'd seen that before. I was also very harsh to him. I put down his size in my last post, but after thinking about it, he's around 7 inches, so he's not that small. I was just letting a fantasy of being with someone else take over. When I got home, my husband was still in the kitchen. I tried to talk to him, but he just put headphones in and started to cook pasta. Eventually, he took them off and put the pasta in a bowl. I asked if I could have some, and he said he doesn't share and just ate it all. I was exhausted and emotional, so I just went to sleep. He woke me up about an hour later, and I thought he was trying to have sex or something, but instead he just took my duvet and threw me a towel before going into the living room and setting up to sleep. I got back to sleep after finding a rug. I tried to talk to him while he was on the couch, but he ignored me. I woke up early because it was cold and the heater was off in my room. That gave me some more time to think, and I realized how badly I messed up, and I need to work on being a better wife. I tried to talk to my husband all day. He's just unresponsive. I tried to make a move on him, and he rejected me and left the room. He's never once done that before. He'd at least go down on me if he was too tired for sex, but today he was just completely disinterested in anything at all. I haven't noticed he hasn't eaten or drank anything today either. He just looked tired. I tried to sit him down and talk to him, but he just got up and left the house. I tried to call him, but it went to voicemail, so I texted him saying I loved him and for the sake of our marriage, we need to talk soon. He texted me back saying this: I do not want a conversation nor a marriage with you any longer. I'm going to be staying elsewhere until the new year. When I return, I expect you to be gone. This was my house before and I don't want you here anymore. I've contacted a lawyer and from now on we will communicate via her. I'm no longer using this number. I've made some calls and apparently my husband is staying at my sister's house. I'm concerned because she's attractive and single, and I know she's had a little crush on him for a while now. I have a feeling she's going to use this to try and make a move. I texted her and asked her what's going on, and she said she loves me, but she's not going to support me after what I did, and that we shouldn't talk for a little while. I understand I messed up, but she's my sister, and she's supposed to be there for me right now, not playing housewife to my husband. I have a friend who lives near my sister, and she told me that apparently my husband and sister were shopping together earlier, and that she was acting like his girlfriend. I really don't know what to do about that, but I feel betrayed. I love my sister, but I hate her right now for what she's doing. I just hope my husband doesn't let her have her way with him. This has been a really long day, and so much has happened, and I really don't know what to feel or do right now. I just want things to be normal again. Sorry for the essay, but I just wanted to vent a bit. I know I effed up, but I never thought it would get this bad. Comments. Karma. That's all I gotta say. I hope he does get you back and sleep with her, but honestly, I think you're just projecting your actions and feelings onto him. I think he's devastated and looking for moral support after being publicly betrayed by his wife and then cheated on. I hope he moves on and finds a happier life with someone who truly loves, respects, and appreciates him. You deserve this. Honestly, I hope he leaves you for your sister, because hey, maybe he's just not that excited when you two have sex anymore. He orgasms every time, but it feels like a transaction for him. You just nay-nayed yourself, and I'm so glad a cheater like you got what they deserve.